Hey everybody, what is happening? This is K Doubles, and I have something I haven't done in a long time. I have one of my old childhood stories, and in the background, this is Black Ops with Expert Gamer. He has Dog Hellraiser as his gamer tag, I guess, but his channel is Expert Gamer. I'll link it at the bottom. But yeah, so we were playing some zombies, and we didn't do so great, but I don't know. It was the first time I'd played in probably 6 months. First time he had played in forever too. So, yeah, that's what's going on in the background. But yeah, so I've been wanting to do childhood stories for a while. I just hadn't really thought of anything that I'd done in a long time, and so I thought I would do that for y'all. Whenever I was probably like 12, it was we had I think if you go back to one of my older videos, I had a caliche pit that would fill up with water, and whenever it would, we'd get like actual rapids whenever it rained a whole lot, it was like intense kind of rapids. It was awesome. And so we were going out there and we were kayaking in those rapids, and like my dad's like a big kayaker when he was younger, and so he is saying like the rapids were pretty decent. And so I took one of my friends out. We're both probably in like 6th grade, and we're just kind of messing around, and we start going through the rapids, and we both just flip, and we're in the same kayak, and we flip and we fall, and we like get stuck on this little like island kind of thing out in the middle of the rapids, and we're like, oh man, this is kind of intense. How do we get back? And so I don't know what we did, but we kind of like, I ran and jumped, and he kind of pushed me, and I like jumped across the little pond, I guess, or river, I guess. It's like a river. It's intense. And so I jump across, and I make it just barely, and I kind of like crawl onto shore. And I look at my friend, I'm like, okay, I'm going to need you to try and jump to me. He's like, what? I don't want to jump to you. I'm not going to make it. And I was like, no, trust me. I got this. And I like stick out my hand. And it's like, it's like dramatic movies. It's like, just take my hand. He's like, okay, fine. I'll jump to you. And so he like takes a step back, and he kind of like jumps forward and like grabs my hand. And we're like, awesome. And so it's like, we're soaking wet though. So he slowly starts slipping out. He's like, Sam, don't let go. Don't let go, Sam. And I was like, oh, okay. Kind of like pulling on him. And he starts sliding out of my hand faster and faster. And all of a sudden he just goes, whoop, gets sucked down a river. And we're like, uh-oh. And he just like disappeared under the water. And then like 10 seconds later appeared like 100 yards away, just like, oh my gosh. Just freaked out as can be. And it was too funny. And then another time we were out there. I was with a different friend this time, and we were starting to kayak towards each other, and we're like, hey, let's play chicken. And so we start kind of going, and then we're gonna like swing past each other, and we go and just slide. No, like neither of us is gonna turn, because nothing's gonna happen if we hit each other. So we just kind of like hit the front of the little kayaks and just slide past each other. Like, oh, that was so funny. Let's do it again. So we paddle away from each other a little ways, and then start going towards each other, just doing work, just paddling. And then we're like lined up on each other. We're like, oh, that's gonna be so awesome. And like, I don't know how this happened. It's like a freaking 1 in a million chance. We hit the boat like tip of each kayak just perfectly on each other, and just go and like lurch forward on our seats, and just completely stop after like we were hauling, and we just bam nailed each other. We're like, oh god, that was a terrible idea. And so we kind of like laid there for a little bit. And we just like, okay, maybe we try it again. And so we kind of like paddle away from each other, and then come back towards each other and just slide past each other again. And I think he accidentally smacked me in the face with his paddle as we were coming by, because it was just like sticking out the side, and just slapped me in the face. I was like, oh god, well, we're not doing that anymore. But oh my gosh, we used to have so much fun out in that caliche pit. And like, oh god, I'm trying to think of all the different other times we did. We had another one where we got this tiny little boat, and I'm like, okay, I'm a really tall, big guy. I'm like I'm over 6'3". This isn't a joke. I'm a big dude. Okay, and I was standing in this tiny kayak. We're gonna have paddle racing. Like where you're standing up in the kayak, and it's impossible. It is dang near impossible. And so we start going. So it's me and my brother, and we're just kind of paddling, and we're going and going, and all of a sudden we're both just kind of like getting really unstable because we're actually kind of moving at this point, and all of a sudden he like bumps into me, and so I fall like face first into my boat and then slap my legs onto his boat, which makes him trip over my legs, and then he slaps onto his boat and falls into the water, and both our boats are upside down, and we're both like stuck out in the water. We're like trying to climb back in, but we're both like pretty young, and so it's like really hard to do with that whenever we were that little, and it was, oh god, it's too funny. But and then I'm trying to think of all the other times we went kayaking. I actually had a really scary moment when I was kayaking. It was probably a few years later. I was actually ocean kayaking, and my brother and I went out into like the waves, obviously, and we're kind of paddling out there in our little kayak, just doing work. I love the term doing work. I don't know why. God, I suck at Black Ops Zombies, by the way. I don't know why I was doing so bad that game. But I just kind of was. So we just were messing around, just having fun, and all of a sudden we see this giant wave. We're like, hey, we totally got to hit that wave. That thing is gigantic. So we paddle back in towards the shore a little bit, and this giant wave just slaps over the top of us and like throws us in the air. And we're like, oh, that was awesome. We got to do it again. And what the way waves work is that there is a golden set, or waves come in sets of 7, and then every 7th set of 7, I guess they don't actually come, it's like, those are just kind of guesstimations, but like, they come in sets generally around those size, and they have this thing called a golden set, and you have like a couple of them a day, and they're just gigantic sets of waves, and so we kind of were messing around, and that first wave was just gigantic. We're like, oh, that was awesome. And each wave gets bigger as the thing goes on. So we're like, oh, let's back up. And we had no idea how big this wave was going to be. So I'm kind of sitting there, and I'm like, Ben, that wave's pretty big. And he's like, yeah, I think so. Do we paddle in or paddle out? And we're like, well, paddling in means it'll break on us. So we paddle forward, and we go and hit that like gigantic wave, and it just throws us into the air. Like literally tosses both of us in our kayaks into the air. We're like, oh my gosh. And so we're trying to get away from these waves, and now we're like paddling out away from shore as fast as we can. And all of a sudden this like monster wave comes up, and we're like, oh god, we're dead. And it picks us up, throws us probably like 10 feet in the air, and then flips us over too. And whenever the wave broke on us, so it's all the water like hit me in the chest. I just like hit myself in the chest, like reenacting it for some reason. And it flipped the kayak over, and my life jacket was holding me legitimately underwater, and I was so panicked. I don't know. I've never been that scared in my entire life. And so I'm like stuck underwater. My brother's like, Sam, like yelling above water, like legitimately freaked out because I'm gone. He can't find me, and we're both just getting like pounded by waves, and oh god, it was not a good experience. But I ended up I had to step down on the bottom of the ocean, and it was solid rock, so it like cut my feet up, and it was terrible. It was terrible, guys. It was dang terrible. But then we went like on this big. We were taking my sister on a campus tour of all the schools out wherever we were, and it was pretty fun. And I had like this giant cut across the bottom of my foot that ended up really hurting. And yeah, so that was kind of interesting. But yeah, so I have another set of footage of my Black Ops Zombies. Yeah, sorry for a whole lot of Call of Duty Minecraft fans. I'll be doing a lot of Minecraft tomorrow. It'll be coming up in the next few weeks. So hope you enjoy that. Hope you enjoy the video. Leave a like, favorite, do all that nonsense. And love your faces. Catch you cats later. Bye.